welcome to the Christmas Confections Countdown. So today is going to be day number 5 if you're just now joining us for this little collection of videos that I'm doing. I'm pretty much playing baking challenge by myself. I don't have a challenger, but I am having a blast. So today is going to be day number 5. We've already made some really great things, and I'm really excited to see what today's dessert's going to be because so far we've been doing really well. We've had some near close calls, or if I had judges or challengers, I might not have made it through. But I'm feeling really good about today. I'm feeling like we are going to be baking up something that I think is going to be pretty good. So let's find out what we got for day number 5. All right, so today we're going to have a sugar cookie panna cotta with a sugar cookie base. That sounds delicious. And pretty much what my plan is for the sugar cookie panna cotta is to do a vanilla panna cotta, but I'm going to put almond in it to kind of it's going to kind of simulate the taste that's going to be in my sugar cookie. So the sugar cookie base and the panna cotta will be very similar to each other. So I'm going to get all my ingredients together and we'll meet back here to start our panna cotta in just a moment. All right, so I have all of my stuff prepared to make the panna cotta, and this is one of my absolute favorite desserts. I love panna cotta. It's so simple and yet so delicious. I'm going to be molding it into spears because that's going to give me the look I want, and it's going to sit really pretty on top of my cookie base and look like a little half snowball. And to make this, it's going to be really simple. So what we're going to do is we're going to add in our cream and our milk. I have both of them in here, and all the ingredients are listed below. I'm going to add my cream and my milk into this pan and put my sugar in here, and I'm going to just heat this until the sugar is dissolved. So it's going to get hot enough to where the sugar is going to dissolve into the milk and cream, and then at that point we'll be able to add our gelatin and our vanilla. So I'm going to go heat this up, and then I'll be back to add in the gelatin that I already have bloomed sitting here, and the vanilla and the almond, which I put into the same bowl because they're going to go in at the same time. So let me go heat this up and I'll be right back. All right, so now I have our mixture to the point where it's steaming, but it is not boiling and is not starting to bubble around the sides or anything like that. So it's just steaming up and it's hot enough to where it's gonna melt our gelatin. This is where we're going to add in our vanilla and our almond. Give us all that flavor. And then I can add in our gelatin. I'm just gonna give this a mix and let it dissolve. And you wanna make sure that there's no chunks of gelatin left in here because that will not be fun to bite into. Just give it a little bit more of a stir. It will not set up on you until it's been allowed to be cold. So taking a couple extra minutes while it's still steaming to stir it and make sure all the gelatin's dissolved, perfectly fine. I am also not doing anything to prepare these because these you don't want any grease or anything going into your panna cotta. It's because it's such a light and delicate dessert that would completely throw off the flavor, especially since there is no butter in this dessert. So what we're going to do is just pour it into these molds, plain, fine. I'm going to put these, as soon as they cool down a little bit, I'm going to pop them in the freezer so I can unmold them. All right, so my recipe didn't quite make 6, which is fine. I actually cut this recipe in half from what it was supposed to be because I definitely did not need that much panna cotta. But I will put all of the ingredients to the full version down below, and also I will link my half version as well, which is what this is. But 5 panna cottas, I am very happy with that. So now I'm going to go move these to my counter over here and let them kind of cool down just a tad bit before I go pop them in the freezer. And while that is cooling, we are going to start working on our cookies. All right, so my panna cottas have gone into the freezer to cool down. And while that is in the freezer, I'm going to start working on my cookies. Now, I only need 5 cookies. I'm doing them in this circular cup, the little ribs on it. The rest of the cookies, I'm making a full batch. The rest of the cookies I'm just going to make for my kids to decorate because they will have a whole lot of fun with that. But I'm going to make the cookies for our base and get those are my priority at the moment. I'm going to get those in the oven first, and then we will move on. When everything's done and cooled down, we can move on to actually plating our cute little dessert. So I am going to start by creaming my butter. And I will link this recipe. I actually got this recipe off of Pinterest. And it's the best cookie recipe, sugar cookie recipe I have ever used. And sometimes I make it with brown sugar, even though she puts in there plain white sugar, which is what I'm using today. But one of the best. I will link it, and you should definitely go find it. It is wonderful. So I'm gonna add my sugar in. And this butter was not like completely room temperature, because that's not what the recipe called for. It said just have it soft, and I had it soft, so I'm just kind of working on beating it in. Right now I got my butter beautifully creamed in with my sugar. I'm going to add in my egg. All right, and now I'm gonna put in my extracts. And again, this is almond and vanilla extract in here. It's gonna have the same flavor profiles as our panna cotta. Okay, so now we are at the point where all of our wet ingredients are in, and I'm going to take my salt and baking powder and add it into my flour, which I have sitting in my KitchenAid bowl. In hindsight, I probably should have used a KitchenAid for this, but I didn't want to make this table rock all over the place. As we saw at the end of yesterday's video when my kids were over here helping me, the whole table just kind of moves. It's a rolling cart, right? There's not much you can do about it. I'm gonna add in my salt and my baking powder. Let's get up a little bit. And I'm actually going to take that same little ramekin to add a little bit of flour at a time to this batter. All right, so now I have all of my flour in, and I'm just trying to work in the rest of it. It's not getting dry, but it is getting tough. And I could have used a bigger bowl. I don't know why I didn't use a bigger bowl, honestly. I probably should have. I've made this enough times. I should know better. But it's coming together, and it's almost there. And I will do a little bit of this by hand, just to kind of get it all really incorporated. And it looks dry and crumbly, but it's really not. So I'll show you. I'll move my beater to the side. It's a nice firm dough. So I'm going to grab a sheet of parchment, and then we are going to flip this out onto the parchment and kind of work it a little bit more, and then we will roll it out. This dough does not need to be cooled down for an hour, which is the best part about this dough, because if you have impatient kids and you're making cookie dough with them and you tell them, okay, now we're done, you got to wait an hour, they don't like that. Learn that the hard way with my daughter. Okay, yes, it looks like a crumbly mess, but we're going to work it a little bit with our hands to kind of get all that moisture. So what I'm doing is my hands are a little bit damp, and I'm just kind of working the dough just a little bit. Making a massive mess. So I have my dough pretty much where it needs to be. I mean, there's a little bit of dry bits hanging out, but it's not that big of a deal. I'm actually going to put half of this back in my bowl because I'm going to be using this half when I make cookies with my kids, and I'm going to let them roll and cut their own cookies. So although this dough does not need to be chilled, this particular lump of dough will be chilled because they're sleeping. So they'll be using this tomorrow. We're having a little cookie party tomorrow for our homeschool. So I'm gonna put that in there, and they will have fun with that. And I can finish working the rest of this dough so we can get our 5 bases for our panna cottas. All right, so there is the dough we're going to be working with for our cookie bases. And as you know, like I did with my pie dough, I like to roll out in between 2 pieces of parchment because I do want to add extra flour to this dough. I don't want it, all that work we did to make it a nice, smooth dough that we can actually work with to turn into a crumbly mess again. So I'm going to take this dough for my kids tomorrow. I'm going to wrap this real quick, get it in the fridge, get another piece of parchment paper, and then we can get this rolled out and cut our cookies done. Cut our cookies out. And we can get this rolled out and cut our cookies out. And I am actually going for a rather thick cookie here because it does need to support the weight of our panna cotta, which isn't going to weigh a whole lot. It's a very delicate, light dessert. But I want to make sure there's enough stability that the cookie is not going to break under the panna cotta. Good thing about this dough too is it actually holds its shape. Sometimes you make a sugar cookie, it doesn't hold its shape at all. Which when you're decorating, it's not great. Okay. Smooth this out. Make sure all of our dough is even. All right, so I have my cookie dough, and I'm gonna stay away from the edges because the edges did get rolled a little bit more shallow, but I'm going to come in and I know I need 5. So I'm going to I have 5 there, and I'm going to take the excess and repress it and get myself 2 extra cookies just in case something breaks. But I'm going to get these off and put onto a sheet tray, and then we will be ready to get the last ones done and pop them in the oven. So I am going to finish this up, put these in the oven, let them bake, and then when everything is ready to go, we'll be back together to prepare it. Put the cookies and the panna cotta together. So we'll see you in a few minutes. All right, so I have got my panna cottas out of the freezer. They have been unmolded. They are beautiful. They are not fully frozen. And I thought about going with the mirror glaze, but I don't really like mirror glaze. And I didn't think the chocolate would really mix with this dessert very well, the white chocolate in it. So what I did was I kind of made like a fake mirror glaze, and I mixed up some heavy cream and vanilla and powdered sugar, kind of like I would do for a glaze for a donut. And I'm just gonna pour it on top and hope for the best. So, much like you would do with the mirror glaze. Because I mean, our sugar cookie, it needs icing, right? You gotta have icing on it, because I also have some sprinkles here that I'm going to put on here. I was thinking about these bigger ones, but I'm kind of liking these little guys here. I'm just gonna let that drip off a little bit and kind of settle. This was not 100% frozen through, but that's okay because this is not hot. I didn't heat this syrup up at all. You can see like there's little bits of air bubbles and stuff in there from when I was whipping it, and maybe some powdered sugar left over, maybe. But I like the flavor of this glaze much better than I like mirror glaze. And I've done mirror glaze before. Not a fan. I thought about doing it because every time you watch those baking challenges, somebody's always like, I gotta mirror glaze it, I'm gonna mirror glaze it. There's like, it's everywhere. They do the entremets and they're all mirror glazing everything. So this is my version of it. We're just going to pretty much do my standard donut icing on here. All right, it looks like we have stopped dripping. So I'm going to take some of my sprinkles and just kind of give my cookie a little sprinkle here. And be generous with my sprinkles. I like a lot of sprinkles on my cookies. Here we go. I'm just gonna set those to the side and finish off this one here. On this plate, I have our sugar cookie. Came out perfect. My plan is to take an offset and just pop it right on top, and that's gonna be our dessert. I might leave some little sprinkles around the edge, make it pretty. Let's see, everything up under here. I'm just going to pop it down carefully, not to break our cookie. This plate is rather large for this. I could do like, if I was serving this at an event or like at a dinner party, I could do like a little chocolate design around the edges. For now, I think I'm gonna take some of these larger sprinkles, and that's gonna be our presentation. I'm just gonna do some of these larger sprinkles and kind of just decorate our plate. There we go. big trees out of there. All right, so the real test of our challenges has been, how does it taste at the end of it? So I'm gonna try this, and I'm pretty excited because, like I said before, panna cotta is one of my favorite desserts. And I'm pretty excited for a sugar cookie panna cotta. I think going with the green sprinkles, the little sanding sugar, probably not a good idea because it's all starting to melt into there, but it does look kind of cool. Kind of looks like a firework actually. But I do like the way that the red sprinkles and the blue sprinkles are playing together. The little ball sprinkles, they look great. So I'm going to dig into this and let's see how we did. Get a little bit of that cookie down there. There we go. I highly recommend that cookie recipe. I'm gonna link it. It's an amazing sugar cookie. Our panna cotta is very sweet. It is perfectly cooked. The sprinkles are fun. Having that little texture on there of the sprinkles is nice. If you're got textural issues, you might want to skip the sprinkles. If like the coarseness of the sprinkles and the creaminess of the panna cotta would throw you off. But I really like that. That is really good. All right, so that was day 5 of our Christmas Confections Countdown. If you have been following along and you feel like making this dessert and you want to show me what you made, hop on over to Instagram where I am at the Busybug Homestead and use the hashtag Christmas Confection Countdown. I would love to see what you guys have made. And if you liked this dessert, leave a comment, say hi. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye.